Hey, morning, guys. Um, so I decided to do another roast on coffee last night. Um, I just got a new coffee bag coming in. It's Primo's coffee. Um, it's a Nicaraguan coffee coming from like the mountains of Jinotega. So usually ranges from either 1,100 meters to 1,700 meters. Uh, Mostly the variety that's grown there is either like a Bourbon or the kind of mutation of the Bourbon, the Catura. And that's just a different type of variety to escape like the sort of coffee diseases, especially like rust. So generally the flavor of these coffees are supposed to be probably around, I guess, sort of acidic, kind of fruit-like, clean, kind of complex, but we'll see how well I did the roast. I kind of actually just have my camera propped up on my grinder, but we can see that this is actually just like the African coffee I roasted a while ago. Don't pay attention to the label. So this, I kind of put a lot of coffee onto it since it's kind of a short roast. I spent 7 minutes on every one of these to dry for this one. I think it spent a lot of time on 10-minute roast just because there wasn't a lot of coffee in there. I didn't really specifically measure out. This is like 4 cups and this is 4 scoops. Just measuring using one of these like protein measuring scoops. Not really that specific, but this came out to around 70 grams. I'm guessing this is probably around like 100 grams or even more. Just looking at it right now, we're just in the cupping phase. This is actually just kind of an experiment for me, just to taste from a kind of like an older coffee source. This is like a mocha java blend. So as you can see, like all of the coffee is still kind of floating to the top, and that's kind of like the older coffee, probably because it just lost a lot of the carbon dioxide. Everything floats to the bottom. But yeah, we'll see how these taste. I'll break the crust off of these. It's just been sitting around for 4 minutes, and then I'll start skimming the top, and then I'll get to tasting. Pretty excited. So, it's kind of just like in the same order. This is the African coffee going into the shorter roast with a lot of coffee in there. This is the longer roast, 10 minutes with not so much coffee. This is kind of like the medium side roast. Let's go ahead and tasting the coffee. Yeah, that's mocha java. Wow, that shucks to say, but I guess because it's a blend, it kind of has like a lot of flavors in the coffee. But this is just water, by the way. But damn, even though it's just like a coffee tea and bean leaf kind of coffee, shucks, that tastes good. Yeah, you really get a lot of kind of like orangey, like acidic, kind of sweet flavors off of this coffee. But I'm actually surprised with kind of the this kind of the less amount of beans for the longer amount of roast. I think it's just been spinning so much because there's not much weight in the popcorn popper that it's just not burning too much, and then you really get a lot of flavors. Let me go try a taste another time. Like it's almost like more of how do I explain this? I guess like a woody, or I don't know, man. But that first roast was good. Or like a vanilla-y kind of flavor. I don't know. Shoot, like 2 coffees. And then that last roast, that was You still get some of those vanilla flavors, but man, it's a little bit more acidic. And then let's go back to this Ethiopian coffee. Yeah, you really get a lot of kind of like berries. Yeah, but an overall lower acidity than both of these coffees on the end, which kind of makes sense. This mocha java, a lot of the acidity is coming from the mocha blend, so like the African part of the coffee, and this is just also another African coffee from Harar. Yeah, no, now definitely I guess because I'm thinking about it, the blueberries are coming out, but man. But I'm starting to like the 10-minute roast. It's a nutty flavor. That's what I'm thinking about. It's kind of like nuts. Yeah, I'm getting like a lot of nuts. I mean, all three of these do taste pretty nutty. But this one is a little bit more low acidity. Yeah. Did you want to try some of this coffee? So I've decided to do just one last roast. Kind of the reason why I had like results come out that way last time is when I was trying to do the roast with a popcorn popper. I was using like the wrong extension cord. This time I decided to use one of the orange ones, like the really heavy duty extension cord, and that was able to kind of bring up the heat that was way lacking in the first roast, since it wouldn't reach first crack until 10 minutes. And then I had much better results during that time just because of the higher heat, and it didn't take much time. So it would just like dry for 5 minutes, and then it would reach crack around like 3 minutes in the popcorn popper. And when I say dry, I kind of get it to like the yellow browning phase. Try to get that phase more even, so hopefully when I put it in the popcorn popper, first crack happens like pretty evenly throughout the whole roast rather than just a few at a time. And that would usually happen in like 3 stages of like different layers of beans cracking at different times. But luckily this time I was able to get it a little bit more consistent and made a lot better coffee. Last week's coffee was pretty kind of flat, not much development in the taste, and very, not flavorful. But this time I made like 3 more roasts. So one was pretty light, so just barely hitting first crack, and then maybe like 10 to 20 seconds of development. The other one, I spent a longer time roasting it, so probably after hitting first crack, maybe 30 seconds. The last roast that I did was hitting first crack again and letting like a minute to a minute and a half to kind of get a little bit more roasted. But I never let either of these roasts kind of go over to second crack. I kind of wanted that last one to go to second crack, but I saw how even like the beans were in color, so I decided just to pull it out just because I kind of like the color of the beans. I now taste more of the flavors, so lighter roasts, you definitely taste more of the kind of origin characteristics of the coffee, and also it's a little bit more acidic, so you get more fruits. This is the lighter roast that I'm drinking right now. Kind of more fruits, like kind of, I guess like a Granny Smith apple, a lot more acidic, and then you kind of get that caramel sweetness at the end, but I think that's kind of more because of my roaster. Haven't cleaned it out in a while, I just let it like all burn off. Yeah, but you definitely get a lot of sweetness, and kind of the high notes of this is that kind of brightness and acidity to it, and that apple-like taste. But overall, pretty clean cup. I guess I can taste the other roasts. Going into a medium into like a medium darkish. Okay, so this one should be the kind of, I think, darker roast. I already screwed it up. This is the darker roast. This is the kind of medium light roast. So a little bit darker than the first one, but not as dark as this cup. Okay, so after I did a little bit more of tasting, so for the lighter roast, right? Like you still get that nice like sweetness like quality of the coffee, and you still get a little bit of that kind of brightness and acidity, but not as kind of pronounced as that lighter roast, obviously. But you get a little bit more development and kind of caramelly notes of it. Yeah, like a little bit more body in the coffee. But this one, I would say, because of its longer development time and the evenness throughout the whole roast, you get more of a consistent flavor. You get more of like that nuttiness, more of that like chocolatey cocoa caramelization, and then you get that slight hint of that acidity. More full-bodied, more of like pronounced flavor, whereas this is still pretty kind of flat, and it's kind of in between, not necessarily doing the best of each side. It's more of kind of like half good at its job on either side. This one is kind of the other spectrum of that first coffee. Well, both of these are actually brewed at a 1:16 ratio, so that's kind of just like the standard flat line of all these roasts. So I mean, this could probably still be good at maybe even like a higher ratio of coffee to water, but this one definitely not that great. This one kind of just on the same playing field as that first coffee. It's a little bit more darker, more full-bodied, more caramelization, more like chocolatey, nutty type flavors, whereas the other side of that spectrum is kind of like high acidity, bright Granny Smith apple type acidity, kind of nice, crisp, clean cup, whereas this is more of a full-bodied, kind of thicker cup. Kind of really enjoyed my experience with Primo's coffee this month, and we'll see what I'll roast next month or next time around. But enjoyed Primo's coffee. Thanks for watching.